pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Safe there. Successful.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, I want to welcome everyone to the meeting, especially our new board members. So Jennifer and Dan, thank you for being here. Let's start with the approval of the agenda.
Madam President, I move that we approve the agenda with the following amendment. Add additional certified and classified personnel actions, item number E3.
Motion by Laura, second by Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries. All right, well, it is time for election. Passing of the gavel. So I would like to declare nominations for the office of Board of Education President are in order. Are there any nominations? Yes, Jim.
I would like to nominate.
All right, motion by Jean, second by Mark. Any further discussion? Any further nominations? None being, those in favor signal by raising your hand. Motion carries. All right, the meeting is yours, President, Madam President.
Well, first, thank you so much for your service this past year as president. It's been great serving as your vice president, so thank you for all that you've done for us.
Thanks.
I now open nominations for vice president.
Madam President, I'd like to nominate Jean for vice president.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Tim. Any other nominations?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Mark Reed for vice president.
Nomination for Mark as vice president. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Jennifer. Any other nominations? Jean, would you like to make any comments or statements?
I would be happy to serve as vice president.
Mark, would you like to make any comments?
I would just echo Gene's statements, except I would be glad to serve as well.
Okay.
But I know we have great members on this board.
Seeing no other nominations, all those in favor of Jean, please signal by raising your hand. And all those in favor of Mark, please signal by raising your hand. I think Jean won at that point. So Jean will be our new vice president. Thank you, both of you. And I believe we have a comment or recognition at this point. Dr. Garland?
Thank you, Madam President. And for our former president, we have a little plaque for Dr. Hopkins. Presented to Dr. Gloria Hopkins, President, Board of Education 2014-15. Thank you so much for your service.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Is there any correspondence or any other? At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
There's a motion by Jean to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Seconded by Gloria. All those in favor?
Just one clarification on the board meetings. Isn't one of those meetings in August starting at 3? Or is that changed?
That's the board retreat, which will be a special meeting. The regular meeting will be at 6, correct?
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions about the consent agenda? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please raise your hand. Opposed? It passes. And now we are back to unfinished business. Mr. Knight, would you like to discuss the journal project with us?
It don't matter.
Pull a chair up for you if you like.
All right, well, thank you for your time tonight. I talked to Steve earlier, we're gonna come in June, but we hadn't had our presentation to us until June 29th, our board meeting. So Jeffrey Byrne and Associates out of Kansas City came and done our feasibility reports. And Jean Clifford was on our process when she got this last time we went through it, so she kind of understands what this report is about. I can't give you a copy of it, sorry, it's confidential stuff in there, so it's for my board and for us. So. But pretty much they did the research, they interviewed 32 people in the community, and then they did 3 focus groups with the staff, with the board, planning committee, and then our ambassadors. We invited all our ambassadors from the YMCA. We have about over 1,000 ambassadors. Those are people who've been with us 5 or more years. So they interviewed all those people. The board also did a separate survey. They filled out a survey. There's 2 board members with me tonight. Rich Harp. Rich is my current board president. So give him a round of applause. He did a great job. Even though he's from that other school in the state, we'll still recognize him. So. And then in the back row, he's just here by mistake, but he's got something else going on the agenda tonight. Gilbert Valerio, he's on our board as well. And Gilbert does a great job too. Give him a round of applause. And Keller was supposed to be here at 6:10. I got up here a little early, so when Doug walks in, we'll give him a round of applause. He don't know what's going on when he walks in. So.
It'll be perfect.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. Give him a round. So, but they came back. That was overwhelmingly positive. It says there was only 3 known negatives. So they feel the YMCA does a great job. They feel the YMCA has no problem reaching the 2.2 capital campaign. They raised it up a little bit higher. After we did some investigation, we raised it up a little bit with some architectural and some other fees. They said, it's our opinion that the Garden City Family YMCA can launch a successful 2.2 campaign over a 5-year pledge period, provided the following. There's some bullets that we got to meet, which that's what we're going to work on here the next few months. So we're supposed to begin this month, but I had to rupture my Achilles tendon, so I'm kind of laid up right now. And then I'm supposed to have hip surgery next month as well, but we'll see how that goes. But so we're going to be doing some work right now in the process and getting it all laid out, getting the groundwork ready to go. So I'll lean on Jackie. Jackie's our Chief Operations Officer. She's going to be in charge of the sports and all that up there. So we'll get started. I don't know how long it'll be, guys. I know we got a timeline on the contract. I think it's stated April. There could be a chance we might have all the money raised by April. Could be a chance we still might be fundraising. Could be a chance the dome might be up by then. I don't know. So hopefully we can get a lead donor to come in with a big donation and start the process in the dome, because that's only an 18-week period. Don't know if we're going to make the timeline for the fall, but I doubt it. But hopefully we can shoot for January, maybe by January. So that's the plan. Any questions for me? Any questions for Rich, Jackie? I'm sweating up here, it's hot.
Chad,
Yes.
you mentioned that there were 3 negatives that came back. Can you share those with us? Or?
One was the duplication of services by the Garden City Rec and the opening of the new court. Felt that was a huge negative. Whether the YMCA should renovate its old facilities and build a whole new, modern, and full facility separate. And we explored that option, guys. We had a committee that met for about a year with a facility task force. And we explored that option. That's just going to be about a $25 million tag that we didn't just think we could jump into and have it successful, you know. So we want to make sure we have something that we're good. I think we've got a good YMCA, so we just got to tweak it a little bit. So. And then the third one was cleanliness and staff attendingness in the cardio area. I have some concerns in the cardio equipment area. So.
But overall, the studies, the objective of the study was to determine if the community would support the fundraising component to support this project financially. And
Yeah,
you
they
got-
ask them very specific questions. They tell them about the project. They tell them about the collaboration. They tell them about what the YMCA is. They give them our numbers. That was another thing that came up. Some of the people that got interviewed that felt that we fidge our numbers a little bit. Our numbers aren't true. We don't fidge our numbers any. Our numbers are true. They couldn't believe the growth we've had in the last 12 years on membership, on members, and everything else like that. So that came back, but it wasn't a negative. But then they get really into the heart of it is Do you think this community can support it? Would you be willing to support it? If so, what kind of range would you be looking at? And then who others could be helpful? And then they kind of ask some leadership questions on who you think would be the right leader, like a Gene Clifton, you know, so, no, just kidding. But no, they just.
She's on a roll tonight. Keep going.
So, they ask those questions and they give us a list of the names, list of the donors, list of stuff that comes in it, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, when he walks in, we'll give him a round of applause.
Okay, we're done. If we're done, we're out of here. So,
But if you're out of here and he walks in, it'll
you
be
guys can still give
different.
a round of applause. too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, you have a comment though. I just think it's really nice to see organizations in our community that are kind of pairing up with things that we have in the district and trying to find ways where we can work together and make things even better for our community. And I appreciate the why, you know, kind of thinking outside of the box in a way that, you know, has a great possibility.
Sorry.
That did come back to the study. They felt that was a great partnership and a great collaboration, us reaching out with you guys and partnering with the city as well in the parking lot, so they thought that was going to be a big benefit. And I think that's a huge benefit, because nowadays I think you just got to do it. I mean, we're all for the same reasons. We're all here to help our youth, help our community, help everything, quality of life, so why sit here and do things against each other, just work together.
Right, and with the budget kind of getting smaller for education, you know, this is a way to expand some services and all for the kids in the community, so. And the parents. It's a great option, I hope we're able to accomplish this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Do you want to bring that up?
Nice.
They've been talking about.
Oh, boy.
Because you're welcome.
The new ones, Dana and Jennifer, you guys know what's going on this and what we're done? You guys agreed $100,000 in land and everything else? Oh, you didn't get the $100,000 memo? Okay, so you're just aware.
It's 100,000 each, I thought.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. We'll get better.
Yeah. My son broke his leg a week before I did this, so my wife's the one going crazy.
Donnie, don't let him put a motor on that.
I just got this thing today. I went to work today, and it's kind of pretty slick. I can go pretty fast. I'm not used to going that
Careful,
fast.
don't break something else.
Yes.
Don't do a treadmill with it.
Well, thanks.
That was it.
Moving on to new business.
Have a good evening.
Gilbert, would you like to come up?
Sure. Okay.
Hello, I'm Gilbert Valerio. I'm the Emergency Management Director, Finney County. The reason I'm here is I'm wanting formal adoption of the hazard mitigation plan for USD-457. We had Roy Cessna, he participated in the meetings, so that fulfills that requirement that we have participation from your organization. Every 5 years, this plan needs to be updated and adopted by the participating organizations. A little bit different from past years. It used to be that every county used to have to submit their own plan individually, and we would have to pay for it ourselves as a county. This year, they started doing their regional plans, which the state will pay for the whole cost, because they kind of figured that the hazards that happen here are pretty much the same as going to be in Haskell County, Gray County, surrounding counties around this area. By you not adopting this, hazard mitigation funds that could come available in the event of a disaster, you would not be eligible for it. Also, for any projects that you identified that you wanted to apply for, then you would not be able to do that. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
time sensitive?
It's a year deadline, but the thing that I tell, that when I go speak to them, the sooner you adopt it, then the sooner you're covered.
Is there a motion, or do you wish to make this old business or unfinished business for the next meeting? I prefer to wait till the next meeting, just to follow the policy with what we normally do, in case anyone has a question, we can get that answered.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
coming today,
Thank you for your
appreciate
time.
it. Dr. Carlin, are you going over the new policies, or is this your?
I'm going to go over them this time, and I think next time Mr. Oden will. So, there's a number of new policies that the board has to consider, and a reminder, and for our new board members, KSB is a big help for us in our board policies, and our board policy book is really modeled after KSB's system. Twice a year, once in June and again in December, KSB will send us a list of policies that they recommend updates or changes to. Once in a while, they'll recommend deleting a policy. Once in a while, they'll recommend a brand new one. And it's certainly the board's pleasure whether or not those changes are made, or whether we stay with what we have. We as an administrative staff will review those recommendations. We'll compare them with our current policy, and then we will provide you a recommendation for each of those. In the past, we kind of spread them out throughout the year. Now we're going to try to knock them out in a couple of meetings. So that's why you're seeing a little bit larger number. Your board maybe used to see in 2 or 3, and we're going to try to do about half this meeting, and we'll probably bring you another half in August, so we get them done a little more quickly. So I'm going to really briefly hit the highlights of these. You've had them to read them. We won't be asking you to approve these tonight. We will be leaving these out there, and they'll come back for final approval at the next meeting. So certainly if you have questions tonight, that's fine, or in the meantime, between now and then, if you come up with questions, if you let me know, we can get you answers to your questions. The first one is policy CEF, deals with expense reimbursement, and the primary change here is when district credit cards are used, any reward points or airline miles or incentive rebates that go along with that purchase would become the property of the district. That might seem to make pretty good sense, but it's never been in our policy, so that clearly defines that.
Question real quick on that. Now, are those credit cards issued to the individuals on their credit rating, or are these wholly district?
They're wholly district cards. They go through the business office, and the district is responsible for them. DC is dealing with our annual operating budget, and this just clarifies, the change here will clarify in our policy. The state law requires us to post some of our financial information on our website, and we've been doing that. The law has, the policy now rather, will reflect what the law says, so the board's policy, we still have to do it because it's the state law, whether you approve the policy or not, but this just makes it clear that we are going to post that information. It is the board's expectation that that information be posted in accordance with the law. GAHB deals with political activities. GAHB, this is one that we're going to recommend a slight change in the language that KASB is recommending. The language that KASB recommends reads, an employee who must be absent from school to carry out the duties of a public office must take a leave of absence without pay for the duration of the public office. The language that we're recommending is very similar. However, it says rather than must take a leave of absence, it says may be required to take a leave of absence. I think this was intended for somebody who might be in a classified office where they were gonna be away from their responsibilities for 3 months at a time, certainly then it's gonna make sense that they're gonna need a leave of absence. We have had examples, and currently have an employee who's in a public office, and when they have to be gone for a half day, they use paid leave. This would prohibit that from happening. And so we think our language is gonna be consistent with what we've been doing and still meets the intent of KASB's recommendation. You will notice on the final version of that policy, GAHB, there will be a little star there by it. That will indicate to people that we have made a change from what KASB's recommendation is on that policy. So GANA is expense reimbursement and credit cards. Again, it makes essentially the same change as CEF, so they're a little bit redundant, those policies. The C section of our policy book, I believe, is general administration. The C being the CEF. The G's, any of the policies that start with G, deal with personnel, so it is a little bit redundant. Policy IHF, graduation requirements, that's another one that we're gonna make a recommendation that's a little different than what KASB's recommended language is. When you saw our policy IHF, you'll notice it's very specific to our district. 26.5 credits for graduation. It talks about our alternative programs, virtual programs. Our old policy even talks about the Bison program, which now is really part of our alternative and virtual programs. So we're going to kind of leave the 457 specific language there. There are 2 paragraphs that we're adding, and that's essentially what the change was in the KASB recommendation. There's a state statute that says if a child has been in state custody, they are entitled to graduate from their high school with the minimum graduation requirements required by the state, which is 21 credits. That's been in effect 3 years maybe, and that's been our practice. We have been doing that. We've been following the state law. This just puts that language into the board's policy book. So we're going to take our existing policy and add the pertinent language to it. So we leave all of our 457 specific language there.
Dr. Carlin, on page 2 of IHF, just to be consistent, at the top you have Secretary of the Kansas Department of Corrections, and then the abbreviation, and then Secretary of the DCF, and you've spelled out Department for Children and Families elsewhere and other, and you should probably do that there as well. And then in the second paragraph, just for consistency as well, you had one that just says Virtual Academy instead of Garden City Virtual Academy.
Okay. Correct. The next one is policy IKA. This one's a little more interesting. Policy IKA is, in our policy book, listed as teaching methods. It was adopted in 92 and it was never, in 1992, it was never revisited. At some point, KSB recommended deleting that policy, and apparently we didn't delete the policy. They're now back and they're recommending the addition of a new policy with those same letters, IKA. And the purpose of the policy, the legislature this year passed a law regarding financial literacy. And there was talk in a committee that schools would be required to have a course on financial literacy. The compromise that came out was that the Commissioner of Education has sent us a letter encouraging us to address financial literacy in our curriculum. So KSB is recommending a policy that says that we are going to develop a plan to address financial literacy in our curriculum. That's the nuts and bolts of the recommendation. We're working, and we'll get you some information here in the next few weeks. We do that now. We have a number of activities, although we don't have a specific course for all students to take.
two-day activity.
Reality
Reality
U.
U.
That's right.
We do a number of those types of things, and we'll get you a summary of what those are here in the future, and that essentially will have us, I believe, in compliance with what the policy requires.
We don't have other policies specifically commenting on other curriculum requirements, so why do we have to have one on financial literacy?
You don't have to have this policy. This would just demonstrate to the legislature if we were required to maybe do a report on what do we have in place, that we have listened to what they told us and we think we have something in place. But you are not required to have this policy as option, whether or not the board needs to adopt it.
That makes some sense, though, personally. I mean, it just seems weird to hold that curriculum piece out separate from all the others. I mean, I understand what the state's trying to do, but if we're already doing it, I don't know, it's just my thought.
The next one is JBC, deals with enrollment. This one, the changes deal primarily with proof of identity. We can now accept court orders that place a student in DCF custody as proof of that child's identity. We require, as an administrative practice, we require a birth certificate, and we do that for two reasons. One is to ensure that proof of identity, and we follow state statute. We don't get the proof we request within 30 days. We make a report to law enforcement. But the birth certificate does one other thing for us, and that is it helps us protect the student's rights under FERPA. If we know
What FERPA is?
thank you.
Sorry.
FERPA is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. It's a federal law that spells out what we need to do in terms of student records. Parents for kids that are under the age of 18 are basically entitled to make those decisions about access to records and have access to that information. So if in our world today, we have a lot of step parents and sometimes even kids who are living with aunts or uncles, and in order to really get a handle on who are the parents who are actually entrusted with those specific rights, we have to have a way to track it, and so we do require a birth certificate. As hard as it is for me to fathom, sometimes even the birth certificate doesn't have both the parents listed, and we have to rely on other legal documents to establish paternity, but it really helps us in making sure we're protecting kids' rights. So even though the policy will change and it will allow that, we will still ask for the birth certificate, although we will be able to accept other forms without having to make the report to law enforcement. KBA deals again with that district school websites, deals with the requirement of financial information that has to be posted on our website. There's language being added to spell that out, so I think that's again a little bit redundant with DC. And then the last one is policy KGE, disruptive acts at school or school activities. Another new law this year in Topeka, concealed carry license is no longer required in Kansas for a citizen to conceal carry a firearm. Under the old system, we prohibited those people with concealed carry handgun licenses from bringing them onto school property. The changes here simply update our policy so that now someone who's electing to do that in the state without a concealed carry handgun license is also prohibited from having a firearm on school property or at a school activity. And just to keep our policy up to date and consistent with the changes in that law. So lots of stuff. If you have any questions, questions now or anything else you'd like to point out about these now, I will entertain your thoughts and comments.
I just have a question on the firearms aspect. So that is now state law. CASB have any comments or suggestions?
This is their,
policy?
this is their best thing, their recommendation. And it essentially will allow us to proceed the same. That's what we've done in the past. Those will not be, firearms are still not going to be allowed in our school or at school activity.
The prohibition, it doesn't apply to a handgun in the district employee's locked vehicle. So that's not a student. Does it apply to students?
I think based on age, we'd have to do some digging on that. And that's the state law. We can't change that.
I just didn't know if there was a distinction between ages, I guess. that people might be affected to. Aside from that, going back to the graduation requirements, why is there an age of 17 to graduate? I think it's unlikely that someone would be younger, but I just wonder if it's possible. Is 17 a state statute to leave in high school diploma?
I don't believe so, but I'll have to check on that.
So I just see that maybe in the future we have some really sharp student that made it through and worked through 16 at that point maybe still. So I just hate to kind of have to deal with that. It would seem most would be 17 or older, but not everyone. We're not required